From divorce to delivered, how faith saved me. My divorce didn't just end my marriage, it flatlined my faith. One day, I'm humming worship songs in the minivan. The next, I am on a half-empty mattress wondering if heaven muted my number. This is how a crash I wouldn't wish on anyone became the renovation I didn't know I needed. The shattering, the hardest thing I ever faced. I used to think divorce happened to people who simply didn't try. Then a random Thursday, my husband said, "I'm done," and closed the door behind him. By the weekend, I was staring at a ceiling fan, counting rotations like they were answers. Church had promised me covenant forever. The papers on the counter laughed at the vow. I wasn't only losing the guy who knew how I liked my coffee. I felt like I was losing cosmic brownie points. Every sermon I'd ever heard queued up in my head. God hates divorce. Did that mean he hated me? I quit opening my Bible. Every verse felt like a finger jabbed in my ribs. Prayer dried up mid-sentence. I could still raise my hands in worship, but they trembled like aspen leaves on the way down. Friends said, "You'll bounce back." None of them could point me to the chapter where Jesus says, "Blessed are the divorced, for they shall feel disposable." I woke up exhausted, went to bed furious, and blamed nobody but myself, because I'd done the whole checklist: purity ring, tithe, small group host. If righteousness didn't bulletproof a marriage, what would? Rock bottom wasn't poetic. It was a Tuesday night on the kitchen floor, grocery store ice cream, soup on my jeans, me yelling at a quiet sky, "You still there?"
Before we continue, if you enjoy our content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's completely free for you, but it makes a huge impact on our channel. Thank you so much for your support.
The surrender, breaking down my existence. A month later, I accidentally on purpose showed up at a Saturday prayer thing. My plan: sit in the back, arms folded in spiritual protest. Somewhere between chord 2 and 3, I felt a whisper, "You can tell the truth here." So under the safety of dim lights, I muttered, "God, if you still want me, you better come get me because I'm out of gas." No lights, no Morgan Freeman voice, just a hairline crack in the glacier inside my chest. That night, I opened scripture again and landed on Psalm 34-18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Close sounded like marketing, but brokenhearted, that I owned. I decided one psalm a day would be my forward drip. If David could yell, so could I. Some mornings, I hurled the thin pages across the room. Other mornings, I clutched them like a life ring. Both, I decided, counted as prayer. A friend who'd survived divorce took me for coffee. She listened, didn't fix, then said, "God isn't in a hurry. He rebuilds marrow slowly." That sentence burrowed deeper than any three-point sermon. I began journaling questions I couldn't say aloud. Why the silence? What do I do with a decade of inside jokes? How do I wear this invisible ring of silence? The questions sat there like seeds. Nothing bloomed overnight, but the ground inside me got tilled. One afternoon, I caught myself humming while washing dishes. First music in me since move-out day. Healing didn't arrive like lightning. It was 1,000 tiny choices to stay open. Keep showing up at church even when I felt like fraud of the month. Let the offering plate pass without tossing in guilt tips. Admit to my small group leader that I drunk too much Merlot. Every honest moment stacked into something that started to feel like faith again. The delivery, something started to stir. 6 months after the judge stamped the papers, I noticed the ache in my chest had shifted. It used to be a crater, now it felt like a doorway. God hadn't rewound the story, he'd written the next chapter. I still cried some mornings, but the tears rinsed instead of scalded. I quit asking why and started asking what now. That tiny pivot mattered. Verses that once sounded like accusations, "I hate divorce," sat beside promises about beauty instead of ashes. I wasn't an ashtray. I was a phoenix learning to walk. The first time I laughed without guilt, I knew healing had put down roots. Forgiveness stopped feeling heroic and started feeling like setting down a suitcase. I released my ex, not because what he did was okay, but because my arms were tired. I forgave myself too for red flags ignored, for nights I nagged instead of nurtured, for plain old humanity. Church quit feeling like a courtroom and started feeling like an AA where everyone shows up bleeding somewhere. I joined the prayer team not because I had answers, but because I could sit in someone else's pain without flinching. One Sunday, a divorced dad approached me, eyes shiny. "Does God still want me?" I handed him the same lifeline someone had handed me. "He's not done with you." That moment sealed my own restoration. My failure story had become a front porch light for someone else. The ring finger's still bare, but my hands are busy. I lead a small group for people rebuilding after broken covenants. We drink cheap coffee, trade testimonies like war stories, and every week we say out loud, "We're not condemned. We're delivered." If something here felt like your story, tell me below or just type "still here." We'll pray each other forward because healing travels farther in company. Want more? Hit subscribe and share this with someone who needs to know they're not spiritual trash on the curb. I once believed divorce was the end. Turns out it was an invitation to a deeper beginning. God didn't save me from the pain. He pulled up a chair in it, rewired my heart, and showed me that being delivered doesn't always mean getting the original dream back. Sometimes it means waking up with space to dream brand new. If you're standing in rubble thinking heaven's gone silent, hear me. The builder loves a ruin. Stay honest, stay open, and let him come. You're not divorced and discarded. You're divorced and delivered.